Was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all that he left us was alone. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. It's your man Mel back into his house. One more time, gang, gang. Shout out to the replay peoples. Whoever comes through, comes through. You already know. Much love to you. Hopefully that intro was dope. Like myself, as fresh as I'm is. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some things. Yeah, Mel gonna do his thing. Got a little singing for you. Had to let it be known. Hello to the people in the chat. You know, to the people. I just got to send in the chat and replay. Introductions are special. You got to do the introductions right. Oh, wow. I'm watching something else. Sorry about that. I'm watching YouTube at the same time while I'm doing this. It's kind of funny when it comes to housing or landlords and stuff like that, how they do you heat. They turn on the heat, it's like 64 degrees in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? That's that's kind of crazy how that goes. You know, but yeah, I'm live. I'm making sure everything is live direct. Hopefully my levels are good. Hopefully people can hear me. I'm just making sure I got everything out there to the world, to the place. You know, it's the thing with live streams. You got to give people time to come in and do everything that they need to do so you can get everything in order, which is all good. I'm setting myself up to do what I got to do. Make sure my levels is good. I don't want sound around anywhere else. Carol Turner, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Much love to you. Peace to you. Love and all that other stuff. I am getting to what I'm going to get to. I'm just trying to make sure all my connections is working right. Everything is where it needs to be. Make sure my internet stuff is together. Got my iPad and stuff like that working. Yes. All right. Now that I got some things in order, we can start talking about the stuff that I want to talk about. Um, yes, this is another live stream with yours truly and a place to be. Don't forget to give this thumbs up, reshare it if you do so, if you feel so. Thank you, Carol Turner. I appreciate you. You're in the house and anybody else that comes through. One of the first things that I'm going to talk about here on this Monday afternoon, is something that we all can relate to. What's going on, Maria Rita? Appreciate you for coming through. Something we all can relate to. The time, money, balance. It's like when I had the time, I had no money. It's like when I have the money, I'm pressed for time. And I think a lot of folks, may have been there or may not have been there. Sometimes you may want to do something. Maybe you want to go on a vacation or maybe you want to take time off. I don't know if you ever had the staycation situation where, you may have wanted to take time off and you get the time off. And what happens is as you get the time off, like I'm broke. Like I said, I got no money. So it's kind of, one of those things. Let me get my camera. My camera work right. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can see me. I'm here looking all flustered. But anyway, you get the whole point. Sometimes it's the time work money balance. It's like what do you do about that whole situation? Sometimes you have to plan things out properly and put it in proper perspective because it's not always easy. Sometimes you want to do things. It's like trying to buy gifts for somebody or maybe you want to go someplace you can't afford and stuff like that. It's like sometimes it's a struggle. Like how do you deal with such a thing? And I think it's a matter of being realistic with yourself about something my mother always told me about living within your means, stuff like that. Not getting too crazy with where you're going, with any particular thing. I mean, not forget to give myself the thumbs up. You gotta give yourself the thumbs up. You gotta support yourself. So I gave myself the thumbs up. But thank you for all the people that are watching, and I appreciate you. Like I said, I'll try to make this live stream not too long as necessary. But anyway, like I said, right now, back to the time money balance. When you have the money but you don't have the time, then you have the time, but you have no money. It's like how do you deal with that? And I think personally, it's about being realistic with yourself about what's the most important things to do. About thinking about to yourself, if I had the time and the money, what are the most important things that I would want to get done? Is it something where I want to remodel the house, or is it something where I want to save up for college for the kids, or you want to go on that vacation, or you just want to buy some new clothes, or you just want to get something done that you've been trying to get done for the longest. It's an interesting situation. I think it's all about balance in life. When you're doing these particular things. I think as long as we don't live beyond our means and get outrageous with where we're going, we'll be fine. And not looking at other people and being envious of what somebody else may have. Sometimes you may see somebody, living their life and enjoying themselves and thinking, well, maybe I should be shining like that too. Maybe that should be me. And like I said, maybe this is important to you, maybe it's not important to you. And I just say this for people that go through such a thing, because sometimes you may want to, move in a certain way, and it's just the resources are not there. And I think it is about being content with what we have. Sometimes I think people don't appreciate what they have in front of them, before they start looking at what they, you know, can get, or what's lacking, or what's missing. So I think it's important to take stock and inventory of what you may have, in your possession, to be aware of the people around you, to be aware of the blessings that you do have. And sometimes we miss that, getting caught up in just, looking at what people may have, especially online. You go on Instagram, or Facebook or Twitter, people put out, imitation of life, as the old movie says, and that's something that people do. Folks have, their right to do, what it is they do. But I say for you, the people that struggle with that time work balance, just to recap that, it's just about really being realistic about, what are your means? How are you living? What is it that you really want to accomplish? What are the 2 or 3 most important things that you really want to make happen? Just in time prep. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. This is just one of those live streams that, I'm putting out there. I expect people, maybe come in to replay. I thank you, for the 4 people watching, or the people that were here. It's all good. Nothing wrong with that. But you get that part. Just to recap, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that as well. Just about living in your means, being realistic about, what to manage your money, really. How do you manage your money? What do you spend your money on? Do you spend your money on frivolous things? Are you realistic with yourself about what you can and can't afford? People may not want to hear that, but I think that's an important thing to talk about, especially since it's tax season. Since the fact it's tax season, people will get their tax returns, and they'll splurge and spend money on things that may not necessarily, be, the most beneficial to them. For me personally, I like to make sure I get my bills and all my debts and outstanding things out of the way before I do anything particularly crazy as far as splurging and stuff like that. But I digress from that situation, and each person is different. You may have a different way you present yourself and how you do your thing. But I think it's about taking stock and inventory. And no matter what you do as far as your time, money balance, as far as what you have and don't have, it's really about being honest with yourself about what you're going to do with that, you know. But I digress from that. So, I'm going to move on to the next thing. The next thing I'll talk about, is something, maybe people can relate to, maybe you can or you can't. Let me take this little sip of water break, water break. I had a waters with the lemon in it. Next thing is, when karma comes looking for you, what do you do? Most people may not understand it or care. I personally believe in karma. I believe that what energy you put out there in the universe comes back to you. It's almost like the singer Demi Lovato. She's talking about 21 Savage and the Super Bowl commercials. You could basically Google Demi Lovato 21 Savage, and you'll find out what I'm talking about there. When you put a certain type of energy out there, and you may make fun of somebody else's situation, and it comes back to you, or just how you treat people. I believe how you treat people comes back to you. That's why I say, when karma comes looking for you, what do you do? Sometimes all you can do is just, bear with it, and, pray for strength to deal with it all. What's going on, Justice Hambricks? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Um, I'll just recap what I was talking about. What I was talking about was the time money balance, how that goes. You can go back, to the beginning, and figure that. I'm not gonna keep repeating. Somebody told me in a live stream one time, watching my live streams, not to repeat myself 1,000 times. So I'm not gonna repeat myself 1,000 times. Anybody that wants to know what I was talking about before I was talking about this subject, just watch the live stream. It's not that long. But anyway, karma. When karma comes looking for you, I think, and I personally believe, that the energy you put out there comes back to you, is reflected back to you. Sometimes, how you're treated is as a result of what you put out there. People, a lot of times, they reflect who you are and what you are. Work smart, not hard. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I don't know how long you've been here, but yeah, that's part of that. or you could do both. Well, yeah, you got to figure out what to do with that. But yeah, anyway, like I was talking about with karma, a lot of times people don't realize that, with the energy that they put out there in the world, how you treat people is important, because, like I said, that's how people are gonna, basically reflect and throw stuff back at you. Be careful who you like your excuse me. Be careful who you refuse to be kind to. Be careful who you're mean to. You never know who folks are. You never know who folks are gonna be. Things like that. Now we're talking about universal laws. Yes, yes, just us handbricks. We're talking about universal laws. And that is true. It's a universal law that what you throw out there, karma comes back to you hard. And you know what they say about karma? Karma is the B word. I'm not going to curse on here, kids still watching and stuff like that. But I think a lot of people miss this because people get confused sometimes, about how they get treated. You could be rude and mean and nasty, constantly cursing people out and talking about people and gossiping about people. So what would make you think that out there in the world, in the universe, that folks wouldn't gossip and talk crazy about you? It's bound to happen. It's just like even you strangers out there. If I picked the YouTube channel, any one of you, even somebody I didn't know, I guarantee you, if I picked the biggest YouTuber, whoever it may be, and I started to gossip about them and talk about them and do attack videos and and really come at them hard, at some point the universe is going to come back to me or karma is going to come back to me and people will attack me. Yeah, well, it comes down to haters as well too, just as hamburgers. You don't want to associate with haters, but yeah, oh yeah, and they get back what you put in. Yeah, no, it is that. I believe that you get back what you put in. What's going on, Angela? Appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Um, Angela Vanoy, appreciate you. I am doing good. I am doing good, Angela. I'm doing good. So I'm just talking about karma. I don't know if you get into karma if you believe in karma, but I do. I believe that how you treat people is important. And it's like a businessman said. Old businessman said, nothing pays more dividends than the time that you spend getting to know people. And that's really important. So that's something that I think people should be wary of. And people don't care how much you know or where you're coming from. First they want to know how much you care. People want to know how much you actually care about them before anything. And I think a lot of times in life, sometimes we look at people based on status or what we can get from them, or if the person is of importance to me. If I can't really use you in a particular way, why should I want to deal with you or be around you? And that stuff comes back to us. You also become what you surround yourself with. Yes, I believe that. Good to hear. Should agree everyone with respect until they give you a reason not to. Yeah, no, Angela, that's definitely one way you could look at it. You give people respect until they give you a reason not to. I could definitely agree with that. And also, too, Hambricks, I mean, what you put out there is what you get back. I mean, and I think a lot of people miss that. A lot of people don't realize that. When you do put a certain type of energy in there, people notice that. People notice how you treat people. What's going on, Yas Poet? I appreciate you all the way from Kentucky. Much love to you, brother. I gotta check out that new video that you did. I know you got that lyrical, destruction over there, that presentation that you do. But I appreciate you for coming through, my brother. Thank you for stopping by. And when I'm talking about Yas Poet, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. It's karma. The energy that you put out there, it comes back to you. And some of the people in the chat were talking about basically, you respect folks, until they give you a reason not to. And what you put out there, comes back to you. And I totally believe that. That's why it's important to, to be careful how you treat folks, not just because it comes back to you, because it's right to treat people with dignity, respect, stuff like that. Let me see. Good to have different screens because I don't want to miss anything. Just as Henry says, I respect folks regardless. I try to maintain the consistency. It's hard for some to do. Yeah, I mean, it is hard for people to maintain a consistency, but that's only based upon the person. If the person wants to maintain that consistency, then that's up to them. It's a really a choice about whether or not you want to care about folks or you don't. How you treat people is really based upon how you want to treat them, not some superficial thing where you can't get it together. I mean, let me turn my volume down on this. I don't want that to come through. Yeah, I mean, I really personally believe that it's based upon you how you want to treat people, and what comes back to you from that is based upon how you feel about your relationships and how you leverage things, with people. If people are treating you a certain way, you may need to look in the mirror and figure out, okay, am I treating this person in the way that they should be treated. I mean, I think everybody should be treated with a kindness and a dignity and a respect. If you don't do that, then I think karma is coming for you. And a lot of people miss that. A lot of people miss the fact that what, hey, look, maybe I contributed to this negative behavior if somebody has negative behavior towards me. Now if it's okay with how people treat you and you don't care, then hey, do your thing. That's just what it is. Let me see. Am I missing any comments? Am I missing any comments? I feel like a person reaps what they sow. Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm trying to say in this conversation here. People do reap what they sow, but my thing is to, you know, let people understand that, you can stop that. You can prevent that from being a negative thing. And on the flip side, to be objective like this, what positive energy you put back in there can also come back to you too. So, like it says in the good book, be, weary not in well doing. Some people may do good things and feel like they're coming in last, or they're not being acknowledged as much because, the good thing is that they're doing is not being, put up the esteemed as well. And I say, if you're a good person and you believe in doing good things and treating people with kindness and respect, don't worry, it'll come back to you. Like I said, the karma will come back to you in a good way as well too. You don't have to, be weary of the situation. I know it's hard sometimes dealing with people, who don't appreciate you, who don't respect you, who don't care for you and stuff like that. You do things accordingly. You know what I'm saying? Justice Hamburgs, if I give folks what they gave me in the same way all the time, it wouldn't end well. Well, yeah, but that's where self control comes in, Justice Hamburgs. You don't want to be in a situation where, it's an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. It's like Gandhi said, eye for an eye just leaves the whole world blind. So, we don't want a whole bunch of blind people walking around with no problems getting solved, nothing getting done, and, nobody really getting any resolution and anything. It's just pain and destruction and violence. There's enough of that in the world. We don't need to create more of it. So it's just a reminder that, the things that you put out there, as Yas poet said, you reap what you sow, so be mindful of how you treat people, be it your family, be it your friends, be it a stranger, be mindful of how you treat people, right. That's why I maintain a consistency. It's important to make it consistent. Like MLK, he kept his integrity to the very end. Yeah, Yas poet, definitely. And it's Black History Month. So that's that's something definitely important, which gives me a great segue if you're talking about MLK. Thank you for that, Yas Poet. It goes into something, since it's Black History Month. My next thing that I want to talk about is, am I my brother's keeper? This started all the way back to the days of Cain and Abel. When Cain first killed Abel, and God, heard the blood cry out from the grave or from the ground, and he questioned Cain, and where's Abel? And Abel said to God, am I my brother's keeper? And you know, it depends. Like I said, when it comes to any type of community, you know what I mean? Nah, I feel like MLK should have kicked some butt. Well, Justice Hamburgs, if he would have, then where's the difference? Where's the difference between him and Malcolm X or anybody else like that? I think it had more of an effect because people realized that MLK could have, kicked some butt. It could have gotten violent, but would have it would have been any different than any other militant movement? I mean, what would have been the difference between the civil rights movement from the standpoint of MLK and the Black Panther Party? You need some distinctions. There was already people out there kicking butt. You could Google the Black Panther Party and their issues with LAPD and SWAT and all that stuff. You'll see. It was some people out there kicking butt and taking names. I'm not on that non-violent stuff. Don't touch me, and I won't get violent. Well, there's different approaches. Like I said, there's definitely different approaches. I'm not gonna say just get beat up and slapped up and stuff like that, but there is a point to be said about trying to de-escalate and deal with things in a non-violent way. It works. It may not always end the way that we like it, but being non-violent does work. And I would advocate for nonviolence. I would definitely advocate for nonviolence before I would advocate for anything else. But that's just me. I digress from that particular situation. You do what you feel is the right thing, but also, as we just talked about in the last thing, be mindful that karma comes from you for you as well. What do you do when karma comes from you from dealing with situations in a violent manner, which may not need to end in a violent manner? But remember, the karma comes back to you. But like I said, I digress from that situation. Back to the next thing. Um, am I my brother's keeper? You know, and this applies to not just, men and stuff like that or black community. It's just like, in the community, am I responsible for, my family, my friend? Am I that person? Let me see. The BPP was definitely one of the influences for what I stood for. I could hear you. I tried to de-escalate stuff. Took the classes. That's cool. That's cool. I mean, I appreciate that. Nothing wrong with that. But like I said, back to the question: am I my brother's keeper? In a particular situation, when it comes to community issues, when it comes to dealing with people, be it white, black, or other, when you see something going on out there or something happening, I guess the answer depends. Am I my brother's keeper? It depends on the type of person that you are. Who just came through here? The real redneck, railroad. Oh, the real redneck, redneck railroad. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate that. Good to see you as well. Um, but back to what I was saying, question, am I my brother's keeper? It depends on the person you are. When you're in a community, when you see people going through something, struggling, when you got family members going through things and whatnot, it depends on the type of person you are. If you believe that you should look out for your fellow man or your fellow woman, your neighborhood, and that's something that you are, then I would say, yeah, maybe you are, your brother's keeper. But if I'm the type of person where, what, I'm about me, I'm self-absorbed, got self-preservation and that's all I care about, then maybe not so much. I think it's more about whether or not you're for self-preservation or preservation of the community or caring about the family unit or caring about other folks as much as you care about yourself, and maybe in some situations more. I guess it's a personal issue about who people are. I'm an advocate of women for women and people dealing with mental health. So yes. Well, yeah, Justice Hamburg. I mean, it really is a personal decision on whether or not you're somebody who your brother or sister's keeper. I should have asked that. Maybe I should have put both in there. My brother or my sister's keeper. Am I somebody who's concerned about the community? If I see somebody in trouble or see somebody in need, should I lift a hand, a helping hand to them, lean on me when you're not strong and things of that nature? Is that something that, I should particularly do? And it really depends on who, you and who you are. I can't tell you what you ought to do. I mean, I can say what you should do. I mean, we should look out for folks. We should care about people, even if they're not the same color as us or from the same family as us or, the same background and stuff like that. You should care. And especially for your community, you should care for it as well. There's different ways to go about that. But, when it comes to being your brother or sister's keeper or, just looking out for your fellow man or woman, it really depends on the type of person you are. And all I can say is that it benefits us when we care more about our community, when we care more about somebody who's in trouble, who's going through something, who's really struggling with things. So with that comes a personal decision. I'm not here to preach and tell people what to do. But for me, being who I am, I do say I am. I'm not always good at being my brother's keeper or being there for the community, but I am. If I care about the future, if I care about humanity and life and stuff moving forward, then that's something that I should always be and strive to be. It's a challenge, but I am that, you know, and I'll leave it at that. So that's a decision of personal choice, conscience, and stuff like that. That's between you and your conscience. But let me get to the last thing that I want to talk about here. And I appreciate the 11 people that's here in the chat. The last thing, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, that like button, to reshare if that's something that you're into. Support the, live stream, the Mel, I don't know, the efforts and all that stuff. Hopefully this was a good live stream. I believe it was. But I think this is something that all of you can relate to. Since we get into the last topic, this is the last topic, last thing I want to discuss on this here live stream. Yes, this here live stream, Mel double M. Okay. Since, it's the month of February, what is your take on Christophe St. John's situation? I have to find out more about the Christophe St. John situation. I'm not going to try to make the attempt to answer that and give my 2 cents in it, but I can get back to you in another live stream about that. I don't want to try to do it right now. It wouldn't be fair to the situation, but I was going to get into the last thing that I'm talking about here because I don't know if I'm going to be on air to do this since it's the month of February, it's Black History and stuff as well. One of the things I wanted to say before I forget is about talking to your significant other, you know. about, how you communicate with them, making sure you try to keep a strong relationship, especially not just because it's the month of Valentine's Day and stuff like that. I say this for people, who have people that they care about in their life, be it you gay, straight, transgender, whatever. Everybody has something that they care, someone that they care about in their life. Maybe you relate link to them romantically or just family members or whatever. You know, be mindful, of how you talk to your people. Be mindful, especially if you're in a romantic situation, of communication. Communication is key. I've seen more relationships break down because people fail to talk to each other and just find out what's going on with each other, and really, just say, hey, you know what, look, I know you had a hard day, a rough day. Do you want to talk about it? If you don't want to talk about it, let's go do this, or, let's spend time alone together or whatever, turn the cell phone off and, take a walk, or, go in the bedroom and work it out with each other. I don't know, whatever you got to do, go to dinner, appreciate each other. And I say this to folks because, when it comes to your significant other, if you don't talk to them, if you don't, love on them and give them that attention, somebody else will. Somebody else is always looking to do that. I try to communicate, but I mean, it's only keeps my distance from everyone. Well, congratulations on your pregnancy. That's a whole different thing. If you're pregnant, just us, then that means you're doing something right. That means, you still, you still communicate in other ways, which I ain't mad at you. But this is more or less addressed to the people who fail to realize or may forget. You know what? It is important. Communication is key when you're in a romantic relationship. Not to say I'm a romance guru or something like that, a relationship guru, or anything like that. But for those folks out there, that are, romantically linked to somebody or with somebody that they're trying to keep something together with, I say communicating and talking to somebody and being attentive and being concerned about their health and well-being and their mind state, their emotions, is key to keeping a healthy relationship. I think a lot of times we forget how far, a good conversation or just, giving a damn how far it can go, because, sometimes people just want to know that, somebody cares about them more. Sometimes when you're in a relationship with somebody, be it male or female, you just want somebody to take time out, or the person that you're with to take time out to notice you, or to notice that you've had a bad day, or to be there for you, or to listen to your problems, whatever you're going to complain about or do and stuff like that, and I think it's important to strengthen that and keep that at home because, you do have so many people out there with the wandering eye and stuff like that. And then on the flip side, people would say, well, if the person is wandering and they're not strong in a relationship, then maybe they weren't for you. And you can make that argument too. But why put yourself in a position where you have to, have somebody with a wandering eye in a relationship if things is going good? So my thing is, like, if you have a strong relationship, if you have, things going good for you, why not, communicate with each other, find out what's going on, and continue to, strengthen your relationship and make it something worthwhile. Now, what is the purpose? Why is being alone so shunned in society? That's a good question. I don't think being alone is shunned in society, really. I think it may be more acceptable now than ever before, Justice Hambricks, to be honest with you. I mean, there's less people that are trying to get married and stuff like that and really don't want to commit and get involved with that, so I don't think it is shunned, as much. I think there's more people who would probably prefer not to really be committed and tied down to anybody. So, it is really one of those things, but I'm saying for those folks that are in committed monogamous relationships, that are, really looking to keep that and strengthen that, hey, don't be afraid to communicate and, just take time out to talk with your people, love on your people, just, have a quick conversation, just do things with people, go take a walk in the park, do that, some of that corny stuff, watch a movie, go in the kitchen and cook together, whatever you do. I said, don't be afraid to, take time out to care about your significant other, the person that's there for you. If you feel like you haven't been setting aside enough time, because, sometimes we get caught up in work and stuff like that. I often think about how much money I would have now if I was solo dolo. Well, yeah, I mean, some people are not meant to be in relationships, just as Hamburg. Some people, were meant to be solo, but some people, hey, they feel like they're better off to have, significant other, kids, whatever the case may be. I tell anybody, don't have a relationship just because you feel like you need it to be complete, because like somebody said to me, like I said, a female that I know, I could do bad all by myself. I think there was play at the Beacon Theater here in New York. This said I could do bad all by myself. And it's true. You can do bad all by yourself. I'm not saying stay and communicate and deal with somebody and be in a bad relationship just for the sake of not being alone. Now this is my nice brain. Kind of. Yeah. Got you, Justice Hamburg. It's all good. Like I said, this is just conversation we having here. Like I said, I'm about to wrap this up. Real soon anyway. But like I said, the point is just for conversation, just to think about that. These are people, who want to be in committed relationships, or you with somebody or whatever. But the reality is, if you feel like, a relationship is not for you and that's not something you want to do, it's cool. It's okay to be alone. Just to respond to your comment, just as Hamburg's, being in a relationship and being connected to somebody is not something that you have to do. Just like even with having kids and doing certain things like that, but I would still say be responsible for that. That goes into a whole other conversation, which, here in New York right now, we talk about an abortion bill and all that stuff. I'm not trying to get any hot button issues right here. That was a song too from the Blues. I can do bad all by myself. Yeah, no, it was a song too. It was a song too. But, like I said, the point is for those people that are in relationships that try to keep things healthy, don't be afraid to communicate. Don't be afraid to love and appreciate and support those people that are there for you, not just because of Valentine's Day that's coming up in this month or the calendar or anything like that, but because you really, get that support from your significant other and stuff like that. It's key to a healthy relationship, in any form, be it family, friends, work, spiritually, communication is key, So I mean, that's that. Hopefully this live stream was beneficial to anybody, that may watch this in the replay. Kudos to you. Shout out to you if you made it to this point in the replay. If you made it to this point in the replay, don't forget to give me a shout out. Give a thumbs up. I'll shout you out in the next video for those people that watch this point in the replay. Shout out to the people that rock with me through this live stream and appreciate you for being here. Hopefully, like I said, this was a beneficial live stream to you. Hopefully, there was something of value that I gave to you. Conversation made you think, made you laugh, made you cry. Maybe you see my singing in the beginning. I encourage that. I think people romanticize relationships and their purpose. That's why I asked my question. Well, I think people do romanticize a lot of things. People romanticize violence. People romanticize greed. They romanticize possession of things. So I think that's more of a human condition to romanticize, a relationship and whatnot. Maybe because of how people were raised and, just the ideology, the philosophies that's out there. Lust is stuff like that. I think that's more of a human condition, an individual choice about whether or not you want to romanticize a relationship. It's not all glamour. Sometimes you gotta walk into another room and cool off. Yeah, that's true. I agree with you, Justice Hambrook. Sometimes you have to just walk away. Sometimes you have to walk away and try to cool off because you don't want to catch a case. And for those people that have been in those situations, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, I'll just back away from that situation. But for the benefit of time, to respect the fact that folks have been here rocking out with me, I'm not going to keep you much longer. My mother likes it when I don't have too many long live streams. She looks and says, "Oh, you did another hour live stream. Oh my God." And I respect the fact that folks have been here for this long. Like I said, I think this is a solid, very solid live stream. My next live stream should be Friday morning at a 10 o'clock hour for those that care, for those that are concerned. Back with the Savers Club, week 7. Yeah, communication is key, just as Hamburg's. It is key. Even right now, we're communicating. It's all good. But my next live stream, catch you later, just as Hamburg's. Appreciate it. My next live stream should be in the 10 o'clock hour, Friday morning, Savers Club, week 7, another $11. You already know what that's about. I appreciate you folks for being here. As always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Yeah, I think this was a good live stream. Very structured. I don't know what you think, but who knows? Papa was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his